Good morning, everyone. My name is Ray Vargo. I'm the director of the University of Pittsburgh Small Business Development Center, and I welcome you to this morning's SBA Awards Winners Roundtable discussion. We look forward to hearing from several of our winners that we have here in the Western Pennsylvania District, and hopefully we will be able to hear insight, perspectives, and learn from their success. Throughout today's program, if you do have a question or comment, I would encourage you to utilize the chat feature. I will continue to monitor it and make sure that we can address those questions to our winners. So it's a great honor and a privilege to introduce our Western Pennsylvania District Director for the Small Business Administration, Dr. Kelly Hunt, who will be facilitating this morning's program. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi, thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate all the work that you guys have done to make this such a success. As everyone knows, this is not our typical National Small Business Week kind of a function. Normally we hold National Small Business Week the first week of May, but because of the pandemic, things were moved back to this fall. And so we do appreciate everything that Pitt has done to help us to get this word out. And we'll be talking a lot more about Pitt later on in our program. So again, good morning and welcome to our the U.S. Small Business Administration's Western Pennsylvania District Office celebration of National Small Business Week. To say it's been a year like no other is an understatement. We have all pivoted our work and our business models to continue helping the region while growing the small business community in Western Pennsylvania. Before I introduce our 2020 Small Business Week winners, I want to first thank all of our nominators. We had a great selection this year of businesses that were nominated for the awards, from our small business development centers, our SCORE chapters, of course, our Women's Business Center at Chatham. A lot of our local lenders also participated and submitted nominees, and we truly appreciate that. You know, to be a small business winner that we recognize, you have to have had a touch by the SBA, whether it was getting a loan or counseling, but there has to be some SBA involvement in that. And we've had some really great, through our resource partners and our lending partners, some great packages that were submitted this year. I'd also like to thank the Western Pennsylvania Small Business Network because they actually help to oversee our awards programs, and they've done a great job. They meet throughout the year, volunteering to help us with the event, and so we really want to thank them, as well as, again, the University of Pittsburgh Small Business Development Center, which is under the leadership, of course, of Ray Vargo, who's got an amazing team over there, and we want to thank them for hosting the virtual ceremony for that. So we're going to go ahead and get started with them, because I want to allow a lot of time for the small businesses to share. So it's not just me talking, but them getting a chance to share what is going on in their business. So the first one that we're going to talk about is our 2020 Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and that's John Canturo Prototyping. John was nominated by one of our lenders, Rebecca McBlain of the Regional Development Funding Corporation, and Tom Weichel and Richard Loville of PNC Bank. Like I said, these are great nominations. It was a very competitive category, and so we really want to congratulate John for winning that. So John, I don't know if you're muted, but if you are, you can unmute yourself, or Ray can unmute you. And I'd like to start off by you just telling us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so like Kelly said, thanks for the introduction. My name is John Canturo. I own and operate Canturo Prototyping. We are a small manufacturer, machine shop kind of business model in the east end of Pittsburgh. We started in 2016, shortly after I graduated from Pitt, to study mechanical engineering. And we have since grown. At first in 2016, it was just me and a couple pieces of machines in a 1,000 square foot space. And now today we're at 12,000 square feet and 16 employees. So we've seen a lot of growth and a lot of need for our services here in the Pittsburgh area. So that's kind of our business in a nutshell. We manufacture high-tech kind of components and things for a lot of the research and development happening here in Pittsburgh. A lot of autonomous vehicle components, robotics components, medical device industry prototypes, things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So a business right out of college, I would imagine you were probably pretty young, and it had a lot of success, and that's fantastic. Did you have any trouble finding space and equipment? What kind of needs did you have right off the bat?
So the space was the more challenging part than equipment, because I really wanted to be in the city. A lot of our competitors are in the outskirts of Pittsburgh, just because that's typically where manufacturing happens. But we knew we really wanted to be here in the middle of Pittsburgh so that we could be close enough to all our customers and all the tech community that we could have local deliveries and they could stop over our shop and have something changed if they needed to change something, or everything's an emergency in my business. So
Yeah.
nice being close to what people need and everything like that. So we looked at a few different spaces in the East End, and we eventually arrived at the space we're in now, which is Lexington Technology Park, which is going to be go through development for the next couple of years. But that's been a great space for us. Like we can, there's enough space there that we could grow really quickly and just add on more space as we needed it. But we're definitely to the point where, we need our own facility and be able to put some more high-tech systems in place for infrastructure and things. So the SBA was kind enough to lend us funding for purchasing our building in Wilkinsburg. So we have a 15,000 square foot building in Wilkinsburg that we are currently renovating and we'll be moving into to kind of help with our growth. So
Yeah, choosing that location is a really hard call sometimes, and especially in a business where you're touching technology, but you're also touching manufacturing. And so you've got those two areas, and you want to be in a location that you're there for everyone. So that's a great call. I have one more question for you. Once you got your business set up, you found your location, how were you able to find your first few customers? How did you get that word out? How did you get that started?
So that was actually pretty easy, which is unusual for first-time businesses. I graduated as a mechanical engineer, and also my colleagues were mechanical engineers, and they went on to larger companies working as engineers, and the people using our services are mechanical engineers. So all of my friends and everything saw what I saw, that there's a huge need for kind of people willing to do small volume manufacturing and kind of more trickier things that other people don't want to touch. So right out of the gate, I had a lot of friends of mine who were working for, Siemens and Westinghouse and things like that needed components. And it kind of, we had sales before I even had a facility. So that I wouldn't have started a business without that. I made sure that we had enough backlog to run us for the first couple of months before I even invested anything into it. So.
Well, that's definitely a model that we like to hear. It's always better to have the money coming in before the money coming out. So
Exactly.
we do appreciate everything you've done, and very honored to have you as our Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to move on to our next winner, which is our Exporter of the Year. Excuse me. Eric Sorensen is president of Sorensen Incorporated, nominated by the Duquesne University SBDC. Eric, congratulations, and could you explain how your family-owned company, about your family-owned company and how its components may be in every home in the country?
Sure, absolutely, Kelly. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about Sauer Eisen and a little bit of our history and our story here. So we are a third-generation manufacturer of protective coatings and linings, and our initial product lines were in ceramic adhesives and assembly compounds, and then we segued into chemical-resistant materials and linings. So our product development and our customer base have always been on the very specific, very technical side. And we go to market through independent agents and distributors, both domestically and abroad. So our foray, our entrance into the international sales arena actually came back to our founder, who, so if you think of the name Sauer Eisen, full disclosure, that name is just a little bit German. Okay, so I think the first forays into our international export came from, again, go with what you know. You go with a region that is comfortable with you, and then from that point, you also look at different potentials within the market. So that's kind of how we got into it. How we sustain this international business is a couple reasons. Again, these are specified or engineered materials. They go into clean air technologies and clean water technologies, and naturally a lot of appliances too. So to address your question, how it's ends up in so many different homes, it's in the form of igniters, or it's lighting, or it's different circuitry, sealing components. That's the kind of things that we end up, or where we end up. Cal, I think your mic is on mute there.
Sorry, I had a coughing there. As an established business that's about 100 years old, how did you and your team elevate sales in a very niche market industry?
Well, it's a combination of two things. One of them is, I think domestically, all of us have a much broader pool of competitors. So by looking internationally, it kind of you get to again fish the old expression, you get to fish where no one else is. That being said, because the products are sold or promoted on the specification level, we've grown internationally not because of exhausting market share, but to support our products and services internationally. So either through referral or a commonality of specification, again, through these different technologies, is how we've grown. So the markets we work in are heavy industrial, wastewater, power, chemical, petrochemical. Again, anywhere where we have these extreme environments, from a temperature or a chemistry or a physical environment, is where we go. So if you look at, again, I think I've already used the expression before, diversifying your portfolio. We're in different applications in different markets and different regions of the world. So that's how we move. And again, like the market, some segments are up, some segments are down, and we're fortunate to be able to ride different waves when they're doing very well, and we can sail across the other segments when they're not doing so hot.
Okay. To be an exporter of the year, you've got to know a lot about trade. And, as people that are involved in international trade, that the rules are different in every country where you're going to export products. And there's a lot of resources out there, though, to help. And so one of them is SBA's STEP program, the State Trade Expansion Program. Have you used the STEP program? And if you have, how has it helped you in exporting and growing your business?
We also, again, some of the best kept secret is you can go into international sales or exporting without knowing anything about it, just for the reasons that you expressed. With, with resources such as the SBA, the Small Business Development Center, the U.S. Commercial Services, they all can help coordinate where you want to go and what you want to do. So yes, we've used a STEP program in the past to get in front of customers that we wouldn't normally have seen. Again, that goes back down to even researching territories, potential financing should you need them. You had mentioned we've been in business over 100 years. We have, and we still continue to learn, and we still continue to I would say lean on those resources. They're there for us. We can't lose sight of the fact that we're all taxpayers, and these are services that are available to us. And whether you've been in business 1 year, or you've been in business over 100 years, this is a tremendous resource that I think people still need to continue to discover.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again. Congratulations to you for being the Exporter of the Year 2020, an interesting year to be exporting products globally in the middle of a global pandemic. So our hats off to you and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. It's a nice recognition for a lot of people that do a lot of hard work here.
Yeah. And I should be saying, and I haven't yet so far, but I should be saying congratulations to the teams at these companies, because we all know that, the CEO gets to be on and talk about the company, but that team behind that person is, really critical in making sure, how things get done and have a really big part to play in winning these awards. And we appreciate the teams behind the companies as well. One other one that I would like to announce that was unable to join us today is our 2020 Veteran-Owned Small Business Person of the Year. You know, we added this category just about a year or two ago, because we really feel that recognizing veteran-owned small businesses is very important. As a veteran myself, and with some veterans on my team, it's something that we're very passionate about, helping veterans to have a second career outside of the military in small business ownership. So our 2020 Veteran-Owned Small Business Person of the Year this year is Matthew White. Matthew owns a company called Aztec Linear. He was nominated by the Clarion University Small Business Development Center, which is a great team up there. Matthew is a 24-year-old Matthew's 24-year-old business, so he's been in business 24 years, specializes in applying white and yellow paint for roads, major highways, and parking lots. And as I mentioned, unfortunately, Matthew was unable to join us today because he is in Virginia on a job doing the work that he loves and that his company is known for. So, but we did want to actually bring that one up as well. So our next small business that we're going to recognize is the one that we look at as kind of like encompassing in all aspects, and that's our 2020 Small Business Person of the Year, Tom Lowers of BirdBrain Technologies. Tom was nominated by Duquesne University, and Tom has a fascinating company, one that I have, looked at a lot online and thought, how amazing it was. So Tom, can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kelly. So our mission at BirdBrain Technologies is to inspire deep and joyful learning experiences through creative robotics for all students. And we do that with our products, which are hardware. So they're programmable robots and robotics kits. I have one right here. This one's coming out next month. And so these are things that students can use in classrooms or outside of classrooms to learn coding, engineering, design, but also creativity and creative problem solving and teamwork. So a lot of the soft skills that I think are really necessary for many 21st century industries. I started BirdBrain Technologies 10 years ago. It came out of my PhD work at the Carnegie Mellon Robotics Institute. So we're a Carnegie Mellon spinoff. And that PhD work essentially set up the trajectory of the company, in that the robots or platforms that we developed as part of the PhD work at the Create Lab led directly to the Finch robot and the Hummingbird robotics kit. I decided when I started the business to focus on schools and other situations where you have a teacher and a group of students. So I don't see us as necessarily selling educational toys. I see us as providing learning experiences. And so to do that, we have to think about our development process, not just from a let's make a cool robot perspective, but also let's make software that works in schools. Let's make curriculum that goes with that. Let's provide training for teachers so that they can figure out how to use it effectively in the most effective way in the classroom. So we've had a really good run over the last 10 years. We're in a lot of area schools, but we also are in a lot of schools nationwide and even worldwide. I estimate that our products have been used collectively by about 1 million students over those 10 years.
Wow.
And at least 20% of that, 200,000, is through a free loan program that we've been running since 2013, where teachers and librarians can apply to receive loans of robots for a few months to try them out and use them in their classrooms. So we definitely think of our business both in terms of, is it financially sustainable? That's obviously a necessary condition, but also who are we reaching and how are we reaching them, and what is our impact socially? So yeah, that's the quick overview. I see Rich is on the call, so I wanted to thank Rich Longo from Duquesne Small Business Development Center. We're currently working on a new product that is being researched thanks to a National Science Foundation Phase 2 SBIR grant. And Rich was instrumental in helping us put that application together.
Well, that's good. You mentioned the SBIR grant, and for people on the webinar that might not be aware of that, those are programs that the SBA manages to help businesses that are, you know, linked in with an educational institution to do, you know, get some grant money to actually look at different products and get them to market. And so some great opportunities there. You can look at that, learn more about that at sba.gov if it's something you might be interested in. You know, with some of the world's best universities located right here in Pittsburgh, these are great programs, STTR, SBIR. These are great programs that are out there to help to get some of these ideas, you know, into market. So we appreciate those. So you have a very ambitious business endeavor, and what I really like about it is that, you know, I have grandchildren who are all girls. I have 7 granddaughters, and I have a few that are very interested in robotics and actually are doing a robotics classes at their school. And what I like about your product is that it looks different. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you know, even a little girl who might not consider robotics because, you know, of the gender stereotypes that go with that, it's something that they could look at and really embrace. And so I applaud you on that. I think that when you add that, you know, that A that you add into STEAM and into STEM and make it STEAM, when you add that creativity, I think it opens up a learning experience for kids that maybe wouldn't have typically learned it. You know, we know what a lot of the robots look like that they build in the schools, and, you know, they look just plain, but this kind of takes it to a different level, and I really appreciate that. And like I said, I feel like that's really opening it up to get more girls even into some of these areas. So how were you able to get with the schools and get them on board with your learning, as well as find the funding that you needed to, you know, produce this and everything, and then especially even during the pandemic to be able to pivot that into a more online learning portal?
So in the early days, you know, 2010, 2011, I have to give some credit to the Carnegie Mellon University background and technology transfer office, because, you know, essentially I was starting the business by myself. I learned a lot from the kind of network of roboticists and entrepreneurs in the area in terms of how to set up the business. But in terms of finding initial customers, I think, you know, Carnegie Mellon put out a press release saying, hey, look, there's this new spin-off that's providing educational robotics, spun off of technology developed here. And that helped kind of light the spark. And then for a few years, I was essentially like, I made, you know, 1,000 robots. I tried to sell them, they sold. I made another 1,000 robots, and eventually I could pay myself, and eventually I could hire employees. So it really was a sort of classic bootstrapping situation. I did receive a loan actually from Carnegie Mellon to start things up. So that was very helpful. I have paid that back a long time ago, but that let me build like that first 1,000 robots. So I did need something to start to get the first 1,000 going. But after that, it was a lot of bootstrapping and word of mouth, and, you know, teachers talk to one another, and they appreciate something that is working for them, and they tell other people about it. And then after a while, we started doing a lot of trade shows, you know, about 2 to 3 years in, using what I consider an assisted word of mouth strategy. So, you know, you'd go to a trade show. I always say, like, the best way to convert teachers into customers is to provide a hands-on workshop so that they can try it, because oftentimes, you know, especially if the teacher doesn't have a technical background, they may think, oh, well, this is something I can't do. And then 3 hours later, they've built a robot, and they're like, oh, I actually can. And I think my students would benefit from this. So, so yeah, that's sort of how we grew. It's been, you know, it's a slow and steady process. I think education in general it's not something that'll change overnight. I think the pandemic is actually showing the strain of trying to change education overnight, because now there's a forced change kind of being imposed. And it is difficult, you know. The educational system is a very large thing. And so I think the other thing that has helped is just since 2010, we've been at a good point in the conversation. You know, in 2010, no one was talking about coding in middle school or elementary school. Very few people were talking about the need to do making in classrooms and building robots and all of that. And I think we have been contributing to that conversation and moving it forward, but we've also benefited from kind of a larger zeitgeist, many more teachers recognizing that. And yeah, this year, I mean, like I said, it's been, since we do primarily serve schools and also libraries and museums and other institutions that are all kind of shut down or in some level of crisis, it has been a challenging year to figure out how we keep things going, but we've pivoted to some extent. We are doing virtual robotics camps. We've developed technology to program robots remotely over the internet, so that the kids don't need the robots to be at their house necessarily. And we've seen one-to-one robotics where you send robotics kits home with the kids and they build them at home. So all of those methods, you know, are working, I think, and keeping us going also.
Tom, are all of your interactions through a school, or do you have just individuals who reach out, you know, to, you know, use your products?
Yeah, so we have an online web store, e-commerce site. We also sell a little bit on Amazon. So we do sell to individuals, but it's not something we market towards.
Right. It's better as a whole package deal through a program, an educational program. Okay, well, good. I'm going to have a school district, a private school, contact you this week. It's something I would like to see in one of the schools where I serve on the school board. So appreciate that, Tom. It's an amazing business. Like I said, I and the things that you've done to stay, you know, to pivot that during the pandemic, you know, is really honorable and notable. And we're really excited for you guys and to see what, you know, where the future holds for that company. And we really want to congratulate you and your team. I've been on your website. You've got an amazing team there. And doing some really great things and really bringing, like I said, this educational component to kids that might not look at it in other ways. So truly appreciate that. Congratulations for being named our Small Business Person of the Year in 2020. The year of the pandemic, you'll always be known as our COVID winner. So congratulations. There was one person that I wanted to see if we could, if he's on the call. We had a veteran-owned small business that won last year that we were going to talk to, just to have somebody from that veteran business community on. Ben, if you are, Benjamin Weaver, if you're on the call, can you unmute yourself and let me know?
Yes, I'm on the call.
Oh, wonderful,
Can you
wonderful.
hear me okay?
So I can hear you very clearly, Ben.
Great.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
very happy I guessed right.
Good deal.
So Ben, as I had mentioned, Ben was our 2019 Veteran-Owned Small Business Person of the Year. He was able to join us today, so we wanted to, you know, talk to him a little bit about his business, especially because when I tell you the name of his business, you'll fully understand why he's so busy and had to call in. But Ben owns Serve Pro in Ebensburg, and so I'm sure during this pandemic, you are very busy cleaning and sanitizing everything in your county over there. So Ben, welcome, and can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I started the business with my cousin Jeff about 10 years ago, and when we started, it was just himself and myself. At this point, we currently have about 30 employees. We own the territory of Indiana County and Cambria County, and we're looking to also expand into Blair and Bedford County here shortly. So, but yeah, early on, there was a lot of uncertainty with this pandemic, you know, whether we were going to be an essential business or we were going to have to shut down. So we learned pretty early on that we were going to be, part of the essential group. We kind of hit the ground running with this, and we're kind of fighting this virus, cleaning businesses. We did a lot of pro bono work for our local ambulance service. Those people, I mean, they deserve a lot of credit for what they do. So we were there to help them. I think we ended up cleaning a lot of their vehicles, a lot of their stations, decontaminations to, provide that level of safety and security for them, because they were transporting patients and whatnot, and vehicles. And I think there's just a lot of uncertainty from the get-go. So we've really worked really closely with our local chambers, and we've participated in multiple webinars, just putting out good information for people to try to clear up some of the misnomers and myths with this virus.
Are you there, Ben?
Can do on their own. We're
You're cutting
sympathetic to
in
that.
and out a little bit.
Yes, I'm here. Yeah,
Okay,
can you still hear?
Now I can hear
Can
you
you still hear
fine.
me?
You cut out for a second, but I can hear you
I'm
fine.
driving. I'm
I
sorry.
got you. Well, let me ask you a question then. Because I don't want.
We really felt bad about businesses in our area, that got shut down. And so we were just trying to be a resource to them on the front end of this, to try to give them good information as to what, they could do on their own, in cleaning and disinfecting and whatnot. But yeah, we've been very busy, since April, May, with this type of work.
So I have one question.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you. I don't want to lose you, because I think it's really important. Like I said, as a veteran myself, as a small business owner, I know that my military experience, even though my job in the military didn't really relate to what my business was, but it helped me to be a better business owner. Can you tell me how your military background has helped you to succeed in the business sector?
Yeah, I think it's just a level of service, a service heart at mine. I mean, that's kind of how we approach things daily, is that, we rush in when, everybody's rushing out at times. And that kind of relates to the military. I was military police, so we were a lot of times on the front lines of things. And, we've tried to translate that into our business mindset and our mission to be there to help people in their time of need. So, I think everybody in my company we're all on the same page as far as that mission goes. I mean, we've done, I can't even tell you how many jobs that people call us in the middle of the night or in the evening or over the weekend. Our goal was to try to keep businesses open. And we've done that pretty successfully. We work with a lot of major companies that I'm sure you would all recognize if I told you the names of, but when they came down with a case, a COVID case, a confirmed case, we were contracted with a lot of these companies, and we would be responding within hours after their call to fully decontaminate their location, to put up signage that their store was professionally cleaned through our ServPro Certified Clean program that was created during the front end of this. So I think that translates to, my military experience is just being ready for whatever happens, and just having that mindset that, we're essential, we're beyond essential to keep businesses open. And that's been our goal, trying to keep as much product, on our shelves, our having everybody fully certified with their PPE, with their masks. Keeping enough of that stuff around and stockpile and inventory was a bit of a challenge on the front end of this, but adapt and overcome. That was said a lot in the military.
Yeah,
and,
that's
what you got to do. So.
Yeah.
But we have a great team. I owe a lot of credit to them, because we have people. I literally have guys that have worked over 100 hours a week regularly during this pandemic to keep up with the call volume. So.
Yeah. Well,
it's been
that's
crazy,
definitely
to say the least.
that's definitely a great a great words of wisdom, because I do believe that that is true. In the military, we operate under servant leadership, and it's a great business model, especially when you're in a business that is really providing a service to the community. And so,
Yeah.
congratulations on winning last year.
Thank
We're
you.
really happy to hear the fact that your business is doing well, and that the pandemic hasn't slowed down your operation. So we truly appreciate that, and we appreciate you taking
Yeah.
time out to join us today. I know
Yeah.
that you're very
And the
busy.
one,
Mhm.
and the one thing I will say is that,
Yes.
on the front end of this, there was a little bit of uncertainty because,
Mhm.
everybody was at home, and a lot of our businesses derive from, insurance related claims, property damage, stuff like that. So there has been about a 20% decrease in insurance claims across the board,
Mhm.
for our industry. So, a lot of our competitors, are down, but as a company, we're actually up, due to the fact that we were able to pivot. That word's been used before by other
Yeah.
presenters, and pivot into different, sectors of our business, and where we can help other businesses. So again, and I thank the SBA so much for all of the help and support that they have provided small businesses with funding, with loans, with the PPP program. And my hat's off to you guys, because I know that if it wasn't for you, there would be a lot of other businesses that wouldn't be open right now because of that. So
Well, we
honored
appreciate
to be a
that.
part of this, and please reach out to me if I could ever be of assistance to anybody. The other thing that we've done a lot of is help businesses plan for disasters. I think this has been eye-opening for a lot of businesses, because they didn't have a plan in place. And, we've been talking about disaster planning for many, many years. And we do that for businesses at no cost. We go in and we help them think about, if and when these things happen, how's that going to affect their business, and help them put a plan together so that they can keep their doors open. So, yeah, it's been a tough couple months, but, I think we're all going to be stronger when this is over.
That's true. And again, thank you for taking time out and joining us. I know you've got a lot on your plate right
Absolutely.
now, and we do appreciate it. Congratulations. It's always great to hear, especially a year out, that you're still doing well, and we appreciate that. So we're going to move on
Absolutely.
to our last winner that I had alluded to earlier in the programming, and that's our Small Business Administration's 2020 National Small Business Development Center of the Year. Now, the other award winners that we announced were our local award winners. They won for our Western Pennsylvania district. The Small Business Development Center at the University of Pittsburgh, under the leadership of Ray Vargo, was nominated by the PASB SBDC Network State Director, Dr. Ernie Post. And he won for actually in our district, and then he won for the state of Pennsylvania, and then was put up against all of the other Small Business Development Center winners for each state. And so he had some very, very stiff competition, especially in some of the SBDCs where there had been some national emergencies and different things throughout the year. And of course, we always knew that Pitt was one of the best. They are definitely one of our best resource partners. And they when they went up against the national contenders, they came out in the #1 spot. And so we could not be more happy to know that everybody knows now what we already knew, and that is that Pitt has an amazing small business development center. So huge congratulations to Ray Vargo, to Bob Stein, who oversees that, Ray, who's their executive director, and the whole team at Pitt. We really congratulate you. We're excited for you, and excited to see where you'll go. So I'm going to turn it over to Ray for a minute and let Ray tell everyone about the services that they provide and what makes their center unique. Go ahead, Ray.
Thank you, Kelly, and good morning to everyone. And first and foremost, congratulations to the the winners that were sharing their thoughts and insights this morning. It's a great accomplishment. Congratulations. I also want to thank and congratulate all the small business owners on the call today, because over these last 6 months, it's been just an enormous challenge to just continue to keep your doors open, to keep your employees on your staff, and we hope better days are ahead. And we know that all the small business development centers will be there for assistance. We're very honored and excited and humbled by the designation of the award from the national level. I could just tell you, the Small Business Development Center at the University of Pittsburgh really helps individuals make better business decisions. No matter if you are a second, third generation business, an individual just thinking about starting a business, we always say our tagline is we help individuals start, grow, and prosper. And I would just kind of reiterate that our Small Business Development Center is there, and I know all the other Small Business Development Center and other SBA resource partners that are on this call this morning are there to help your business, to take your business to the next step. We're another set of eyes, we're another set of ears. All our services at the Small Business Development Center are at no cost. We're funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration on the federal level, the State Department of Community and Economic Development, our host institutions, and some of our sponsors. We deliver consulting, educational programming, information resources to those in business and those thinking about. We do that through training events. I could tell you that we've always tried to be innovative in SBDCs and Pitt. We've done webinars before, but something I was really proud about was when the first week of COVID hit on a national level and we had all the businesses shut down in Pennsylvania. Our team at the University of Pittsburgh was able to execute a webinar to bring experts together to talk about the EIDL program. And during that EIDL program, we've always had webinars of 50 people or something like that. The webinar we had that day on Friday, March 20th, had over 800 individuals and had 7 speakers using technologies some never used before. And we were able to deliver a high quality program, providing the small business community the information they needed to know about the EIDL program at the time and how to take advantage of that resource. Another thing I'm really proud about of our SBDC is we continue to look for new opportunities to provide information resources. As we speak right now, our SBDC is not only hosting this call we have for our Small Business Week celebration, we have a program with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce on marketing going on right now at 9 o'clock. And we also have a program with the Department of Energy going on. So there's 2 separate training events the SBDC is holding at the same time. We are looking to find the information that we know the business owners need, but also to try to make connections. To make connections to individuals, to organizations where you could potentially look for selling your product or service. One of our big programs we had, and I think one of the reasons why we were selected as maybe the winner this year, was something called our UPMC's Essentials for Success. This was an initiative we started last year with UPMC, is to provide small business owners, and specifically underserved business owners, minority-owned, women-owned, LGBTQ, veteran-owned, disabled businesses, access a special portal through UPMC to potentially sell their products and services. As you know, UPMC is one of the largest employers in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. They spend a tremendous amount of money and purchase almost anything. And so we wanted to make sure the small business community had equal access and understands the process of potentially selling their product or service. We had a great success last year here holding it locally in Pittsburgh. And because of that, we expanded it this year, not only to Pittsburgh. We had a program in Uniontown. We had a program in Harrisburg. We had a program in Erie, all virtual this year, unfortunately. But again, providing business owners the information, the resources, and the connections that they need. We do a lot of work in business planning, market analysis, financial deal structuring. And I know that there are lenders on the call this morning that are experts in SBA lending and working together, collaboratively, helping a small business owner take that next step, no matter if it's a huge expansion, no matter if it's just trying to recover and adapt their business model, what they're dealing with COVID. The SBDCs are there for your assistance, and we look forward to helping you. Again, there's no cost to our services. I encourage you, if you haven't connected with your local SBDC, we have 16 across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're here to help, and I think it's something you need to take advantage of. We will continue to look for new programs and initiatives to provide information to business owners as we move forward. And I think that's one of the things we do, is have the passion to know that we at the Small Business Development Center at University of Pittsburgh play a small role in the success of the businesses that we serve. And that's what keeps us going in our team and our passion that we have throughout. So again, thank you for the recognition this morning and providing me an opportunity just to explain a little bit about what SBDCs do.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
You know, I was talking about this yesterday on a different webinar about the small business development centers, and everybody tends to think of the SBDC as somewhere you go when you need a business plan. You know, if you need assistance with running your financial projections or you want help writing that business plan, you go to the SBDC. But we know, because we're aware of what you guys do, that it's also important for business owners in all phases of growth, whether they're looking to, you know, retire and sell the business, or they're looking to grow the business, or like some of our winners today, get involved in exporting products outside the United States, or getting involved in government contracting, that those are important functions as well. Before we let you go, Ray, can you tell us about you know, some of the things that you guys do to help
Yes.
owners in all phases to grow their business, you know, through the SBDC?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Again, one of the most pressing issues that we're dealing with now with existing business owners is e-commerce. Again, as more and more businesses have to adapt because of the changing environment, we have especially, and we've been I guess, deemed a center of excellence in information technology from our PASBDC. And what does that mean? It really means that we have an information technology specialized consultant that can deliver, again, our services are at no cost, advice, suggestions, recommendations. We have a package that we call our search engine optimization and social media analysis tool, where we will evaluate a business's current website, its social media, and its strategies online, maybe make recommendations and suggestions. Cybersecurity is becoming more and more important in trying to provide insight of keeping not only your business's information protected, keeping your customers' information protected, keeping your suppliers, that entire supply chain of understanding the cybersecurity issues right now are very important. Looking at growth businesses. Again, right now, many big businesses are just retooling. Again, if you look at adapting, sometimes we hear the word pivoting, but I heard this, and I know that some of our winners have mentioned this today. Every situation presents opportunities. And so developing strategic growth plans are there to help a person look at what are new alternatives, look at new markets for selling their product or service. And that's something that we would do every single day, is to just look at existing business owners, look at where they're at, where they want to go, and develop a game plan and see how we can play a role. Again, it could be through some additional market research. It could be through really identifying the right program. What we did a tremendous amount of support with was not only with the EIDL program, but right now, helping individuals that receive the PPP loan. What is there? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of confusion about forgiveness. When is that going to happen, and all those things? We're answering questions every single day on that as the information continues to come out regarding, and it's going to change probably once again, but we stay on top of that information and provide that information in real time to all of our clients and our participants in our programs. The state program, the Small Business Grant Program, we assisted many individuals submitting their applications. Some maybe didn't have the comfort of submitting an online application for a program. Our SBDC consultants walk them step by step through that application process. Again, a lot of the times we do deal structuring of, it's not only sometimes you're dealing with one institution for a loan. Maybe you're dealing with a bank that may use the SBA program. but they could potentially be using a 504 program, or they could be using a county program. Structuring the deal to the most advantageous position of the business is something that we do on a day-to-day basis of looking at where the funds could come from. There's always that word that there's a lot of money out there. What's our job is to make sure, okay, there is some money out there. Understanding the rules and regulations to meet those guidelines is something that we do, and just sometimes be that facilitator of the introduction to potential partners and lenders for the small businesses throughout the area. Good.
Thank you. That is so true. And I will take a second to say about, you had mentioned about the EIDL and the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program loan. You know, the SBA forgiveness portal is open, but most banks are still not taking those forgiveness applications yet. I'll just kind of confirm that for people on the call. You know, as Ray had mentioned, we do expect more changes to be made to that. And so I think that people are waiting for that. We had thought that when the Paycheck Protection Program ended in early August, that we would see another stimulus package passed very quickly, because we know that there's still about $150 billion left in that in the PPP funds. And so we really thought that we would see something real quick. Congress would act real fast and give us another stimulus package. Of course, that did not happen. And at this point in the game, we really don't anticipate any new stimulus for businesses to be passed before the election, which is very unfortunate for small businesses that I feel like are being a little bit held hostage here to the political process. But we really don't expect that to happen. And the same thing, even with the forgiveness and, you know, changes being made to that, it seems like everything is, you know, contingent on that election. So we're going to really just have to wait and see. But, you know, one thing that we all know is that small businesses still do need help in some industries, even more than others. And it's unfortunate. I know that our small business development centers, our SCORE chapters, and of course our Women's Business Center, and even our VBOX, our Veterans Business Opportunity Centers, are out there doing everything that they can with a limited amount of resources and information that they have to help businesses that are really struggling during this time. So, you know, we are really, you know, we're aware of it. It is heartbreaking to us who work in this career field to see that kind of struggle. And we really hope that something is done really quickly to help the businesses. There was a question in the chat that we have time, we can address real quickly with our business winners, if they want to, anybody wants to answer that. And it was talking about the supply chain. How has the pandemic impacted your ability to get the equipment and the supplies that your business needs? You know, has it slowed things down drastically, or what have you guys been finding out? Anybody that wants to answer. Just you have to unmute yourself.
This is Eric Sauereisen here, and I can just jump in on that briefly. Actually, from where we are from a material standpoint, inputs and again raw materials, we actually haven't found that much of a interruption. In some respects, the slowed down in some respects have actually opened up opportunities in again availability, and I'll just speak specifically to just transportation. Transportation is very, very challenging for us during strong economies, but it's actually facilitated us in this piece, as well as talent. Talent has become much more available to us.
Okay, thank you. Did anyone else want to, you know, Tom, did you have something that you wanted to add to that?
I mean, I think early in the pandemic, in March and April, we did have some bumps with our supply chains, especially for overseas components. But it has mostly smoothed out now. I think we are you know, there was sort of this initial shock, and at this point, I mean, the pandemic is still going strong, unfortunately, but people are adjusting and supply chains are adjusting to this new normal. I mean, you can buy toilet paper again at Costco too. So it's sort of the same thing on the business end. It is working again.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I also had a question on the chat about minority-owned businesses and the challenges that they are facing, you know, during this time of racial, you know, all of the racial tensions that our country is experiencing. And I wanted to talk about some of the programs that the SBA has that actually help minority-owned programs. So we actually do a lot in that area. I've actually, you know, I can't say that I've had any business in my 6 years with the SBA ever contact me and say that they've lost a contract or anything because of race. I would pray that would never happen, but if a business has experienced that, you know, they should definitely, you know, make that known. But aside from that, the SBA does have a lot of programs that can help minority-owned business, and one of our biggest programs that does that is our 8A program. So it's the number 8 and the letter A, and that is a government contracting program that is specifically designed for underrepresented companies. So companies owned by minorities, women, or service disabled veterans, those 3 categories. So if you're socially or economically you know, a business that's not represented in government contracting, you could qualify for the 8A program, and you could come into that program, and the SBA works with you in that program to help you to obtain government contracts. And complete opposite of what you would experience, or what this particular business experienced in being denied contracts because of because of the race of the business owner. This program actually gets you contracts because of that. So people are looking to do business with minority-owned companies. 23% of all government contracts have to go to small businesses. And then within that 23%, there are specific percentages that go to minority-owned and veteran-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned, women-owned businesses. So there are companies out there, especially large contractors, that have to subcontract with minority-owned businesses. And so our 8A program helps to get our businesses into that portal, to get them into that cycle, so that they can actually get some of those contracts and start building their contracting portfolio to where that they can go out and bid on contracts. And, you know, by the time they graduate from the 8A program, they are actually a government contractor, and they're out there actively doing businesses. And so this is a great way to find business for a minority-owned business to get into that field, to you know, really grow their business, and to actually be able to celebrate the diversity of the business. And so for anybody, you know, that is interested in that, take a look at sba.gov. That's our national website. If you click on the tab that says contracting, you will find all of that information. We have a great team in my office that under my deputy Regina Pazowski, who runs that department, and she has a great team that works on government contracting. And we would be more than happy to talk to any of those minority-owned businesses, women-owned, or service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses that are interested in that government contracting program. Of course, there are government contracts out there for all businesses. You don't have to be a minority to do business with the government, but these are businesses. This contracting program actually falls under that 23% that the government is mandated to give to small businesses. And so we really want to help those businesses to get their fair share. And that's what this our 8A program does. It helps them to get their fair share of the market. And so if you have experienced that, please, you know, let us know, and let us know how we can help you to get some of that business. So that's one of the things there that I wanted to talk about. And just to kind of talk about in closing. And, as Ray mentioned, we have a lot of resources. If you look at SBA.gov, you'll find a lot of information. You can get the calendars on there that talk about some of our upcoming events. You can look at click on local resources. You can find my district office on there, and contact information for my team, who I have an amazing team. I couldn't go through National Small Business Week without recognizing them. Can't yell out all their names, but just know that that we truly value the input of all of our team and the work that they do to make everything run so smoothly in the Western Pennsylvania District Office, and actually help me to look good. And so I appreciate that, all the work that they do. And but you can find that. You can also find information about our lending programs, which are run by Angel Marshik in our office and her team. You can find out all that information about the different loans that we have and the different programs. The number one question we get is, what kind of grants do you have to start a business? Well, typically, we don't give out grant money. There are some grants that are very specific. We talked about them a little bit in the STTR, SBIR, when you're talking about companies that are forming out with an educational institution and things like that. There are some grant money there, but typically we can't give out taxpayer money to help somebody to start a for-profit business. And so we do have very low interest loans right now, with some of the loans that we had for the pandemic that were over a very long period of time. And so we have some very good, some very interesting ways to where the SBA comes alongside of small businesses to guarantee portions of a loan so that a bank would be more advantageous to make those loans. And so we have some information on those loan programs on our website as well. And like I mentioned, government contracting is another area. Exporting, if you want to sell your product outside the United States, we're here to help you to do that. That even means Canada and Mexico. If you want to sell online and you want to include those areas, that's actually an exporter, and we can help you to do that. So a lot of amazing resources out there. Knowledge is the key. The more knowledge you have, the more information you have, the more help you have, the better your business will succeed. And so the SBA is here to do that. We're the only federal agency with the word business in our name, because it's all that we do, from startups to selling the business, growing the business. We're here to help. Anything that we can do, you can find us on that SBA.gov under local resources. We appreciate that. And again, I just want to thank everyone for celebrating National Small Business Week with us. And I want to extend a last congratulations to our Western Pennsylvania winners. Each fall, the SBA looks at the business community. We'll be starting a nomination process again later at the end of the year, where we are actually looking for businesses to recognize next year. Hopefully that next year's National Small Business Week will be in May again, like it had been in the past. So we really want to if you know a business and you'd like to nominate them, please do so. You can always find information about that. You can follow us on Twitter at SBA_Pittsburgh. We don't have any other social media except Twitter, so it's a great way to do that. And lastly, I will tell you that if you go to our SBA.gov into our local resources, you can sign up for our government deliveries. These are emails that we send out, not that often. You will not hear from us every day, but when we have big events coming up, you can be notified of them. So that'll be on there as well. So you can do that at SBA.gov. And if there's nothing else, I will again just congratulate our winners. We want you guys to go out, spread the word about the SBA, let them know that we're here to help, and if there's anything that we can do. And again, we appreciate you joining us today for our presentation. Ray, is there anything that you want to say in closing?
No, again, thank you for convening this celebration this morning, Kelly. To all the winners, congratulations again. And to all the business owners on the Zoom call this morning, I just will emphasize what's on the screen. you are in the process of recovering, adapting, and innovating,
Mhm.
and knowing that there's a lot of resources to help you, and you're not alone. And so please take advantage of those. So that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, thank you. You guys have a great week, and keep
Be
on
well.
keeping on. Thanks.
Be well. This
Bye.
concludes this morning's program. Thank you for everyone's attendance.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Thank you.